I get asked a lot, what pairs should I trade? What's best to trade in 2026? Is it currencies? Is it FX? Is it gold? Is it futures? Is it oil? And I'm going to explain exactly which is the best one in 2026 to trade in this video by going through every single one, telling you the pros, telling you the cons, and telling you whether or not I think you should trade it in 2026. So obviously we're going to start off with FX pairs. This is the one that I trade, as everyone knows. So clearly I'm going to think that it is something you should be trading in 2026. And I think it just depends on the pair that you trade, because a lot of currencies tend to be a bit more difficult to trade than others. And there's other pros and cons like spread, things like that you can get better or worse on, different currency pairs. So I think EU and GU are two great ones to trade. EU obviously is the one that is probably traded the most. I think it has the most volume. And it's a bit less volatile than GU, so you've got less chance of being, wicked out or manipulated out. A lot of traders use it as well because it's got zero spread or very close to zero spread. And just what that means is you're going to be able to get the best entries possible, especially if you're, a short time frame trader, if you're trading on the 1 minute or something, which I don't recommend. But if you do, you'll find that it will give you the best spread because you're not going to be entered at a different level to your entry point. But then GU, I think, is a little bit better personally, just because of that extra volatility, that extra volume that it does have. And it still has very small spreads. I believe it's about a pip, or sometimes less. It just depends on the day, whether you're trading around news, that sort of thing. But I prefer GU to EU, but they're both equally good pairs to trade. And overall, I do think they're great to trade in 2026. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to trade them in 2026. So I would absolutely recommend them. So next we're going on to gold and silver. Now, these were definitely very good to trade maybe 3 to 4 years ago. I think gold in particular was very, very popular. It had the opportunity to make a lot of money. It was great for flipping. The volume was good. And it would genuinely move sometimes thousands of pips in a day. And we still have that, but I feel like there's a lot more volatility to gold and silver that we see now, as opposed to, 4 years ago. Because back then you could genuinely trade gold sometimes with like a 20 pip SL. And now you probably need about 200 just to avoid being wicked out. So I think gold's lost a little bit of that kind of flair that it used to have, just because of the bigger SLs, or the 10 times as big SLs. But realistically, it can still be good to trade. Obviously, recently, gold, maybe silver, but definitely gold, was on a massive bull run throughout this kind of war period, I guess. It was on a massive bull run, reached all-time highs of well over 5k. But recently it's actually been, selling off quite significantly. It's still hovering around the kind of 4600 mark, but that is a lot lower than the all-time highs, which was definitely well into the 5k. It might, I don't know the exact amount, but I know gold at the moment sat around 4.6k, 4.7k. So it's dropped a lot, and it may continue to keep dropping. So in terms of, long-term holding of gold or shorting gold long-term, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. As I said, there is that volume, there is that volatility. But in terms of intraday, I don't think it's the best nowadays because of the bigger SLs, because of the more volatility. It can just, really manipulate you out if you're not careful. And so you need to be, careful of that. And the same with silver. I think they're both pretty similar in that aspect. So be careful with those. I would still trade them, but I would maybe be looking to trade them on a slightly higher, longer term basis, as opposed to kind of the intraday. Now, of course, they're fun to, trade NFP and try and flip an account. But if we're talking, proper, pure trading, definitely I would stick to the more higher time frame side for gold and silver, especially at the moment. Now we come on to futures. Now, futures is an interesting one because it's always been obviously popular in the US. I think CFDs are banned, so they kind of have to trade futures, but it's becoming more and more popular. You see a lot of people trading the the Nasdaq, the S&P, things like that. And even in England and in Europe, I see a lot more people trading futures now. And I do want to do a full video dedicated to futures, but I need to look into it a bit more before I kind of make videos around it, because I haven't, to be honest, traded it. But it's definitely something interesting. From what I've seen of it, I think it moves very well. It's got very good volatility, but there are a few downsides to it. And firstly is even a tweet can, manipulate it. I've genuinely seen Trump tweets cause Nasdaq to rally or drop, and the same with the S&P. And it can be pretty brutal to trade sometimes, because you kind of add in a whole nother level of volatility that you can't even account or prep for. With NFP or with news trading, you kind of know when it's going to happen and what the result may or may not do, but you don't know when Trump's going to tweet that he's doing X, Y, Z and causes the whole market to crash. So you can't really account for that, which makes backtesting harder, which makes data harder, which makes having a proven strategy harder. So I would say that's one kind of downside. But also, if you're in England or more Europe, you're gonna have to wait till the NYSE open, I believe, to actually trade futures. I don't know if you can trade them pre-market. I don't think you can, but realistically, you're not going to want to trade it until market opens, because that's where most of the volume is going to be. So you're going to have to wait till New York. So if you're someone that trades, while working, or someone that wants to just trade in the morning and be done with it, or doesn't have the routine to trade New York session, or doesn't like trading New York session, that's going to be a bit of a barrier to entry. A lot of people like to wake up, get their trades done, go about with their day. At least that's what I like to do. So having to wait all day till NYSE just to trade, or if you work a full-time job, doing that in the afternoon when you could just do it before work in the morning, I think that is one downside if you're in in Europe as opposed to anywhere in NASA or LATAM. Now lastly is oil. Now oil, again, I wouldn't recommend intraday trading it per se. I know you can, but I think again, oil, like gold and silver nowadays, is probably a bit more of a buy and hold or sell and hold route. Now of course, with the war, oil, the price of oil went up quite a lot because there was far less supply of it, or supply was restricted. And so the price of oil flew. So it would have been great to buy oil in that period of time. You probably made some decent money off it, because the price per barrel of both WTI and Brent probably drastically increased. Maybe more on the Brent side as opposed to WTI, but again, it will be pretty similar, right? So I think buying and holding is great. If I looked at the kind of intraday level charts, it seems very up and down and consolidating. And I think that's just due to the uncertainty there is at the moment. So again, with gold, just like oil, I would recommend kind of just buying and holding, or selling and holding. I wouldn't really intraday trade it. So what do I think is the best trade in 2026? I think FX and futures for day trading are definitely the best ones to trade. There are pros and cons, of course, but they seem like the best ones to trade. And then gold, silver, and oil, I think is slightly better to trade long term. So let me know what you think. Let me know, what do you trade? And I hope you found this video useful when picking what pairs and what markets to trade, essentially. Hopefully you found that useful. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.